Are you wanting to improve, or are you running away from the person you are? Are you motivated by this need to achieve the extraordinary, to push your potential to its limits? Or if you can strip that back, is it actually motivated by the fear of the person you are? Are you not happy with yourself, your insecurities, your anxieties? Have you not got self-acceptance? And is that motivating you to go out and constantly be achieving more in the hope that that thing, that next goal, is going to make you finally alleviate your symptoms of your poor mental health? I spent the last couple of years really dedicating myself to self-improvement, to meditating every day, to reading, to going to the gym. And whilst it's made a massive difference, whilst I'm 10 times better than what I was, I still have that nagging mind, that insecurity and anxiety that I'm not enough, that I'm not ever going to be enough, that I'm less than other people. My mind looks through the lens of I'm not good enough and other people are better than me. I always seem to like beat myself up and focus on my downfalls. And regardless of all the external stuff I'm doing, it's like my self-identity is not catching up to that. There's something holding me to the past. There's something keeping me back that is keeping my state of mind in one that's insecure, that's negative. And this sort of neurosis, like the anxiety that comes from this, is like debilitating, because whilst I go out and improve myself and on the outwards perception, it looks like I'm more confident and it looks like I'm getting in shape and I'm growing a personal brand, it all feels like it's ran by, I don't want to be me. I need to be something else. I need to do this so I can feel different. And that in itself is just a pure illusion, because the tendency of the mind is to desire and then attach pleasure to that goal. Once you achieve that goal, the pleasure goes and then you start desiring something. So all I'm doing right now is in attaching this idea to this Alex that's earning 10 grand a month, that's successful and happy. And then when I get there, I've realised it's not going to make me feel secure in myself. So then I'm going to go on to the next goal. And everything I do in my day is to like run away from who I am right now. It's not, I don't think it's motivated in the betterment of myself. It's running away from the person I am. And the person I am is like an anxious and afraid one, just through programming from my upbringing, maybe some like trauma. For some reason, my brain seems to always look through the lens of someone who's anxious or negative. Gets anxiety when he speaks to women. Anxiety around new social situations. And whilst there's a me that's observing this, that can go out and push through the barriers and gain more outwards confidence, it's like I'm building a persona on top of that anxious Alex. It's like I'm not dealing with the person I am. And I'm just building this extra ego or persona that's on top of that is outwardly confident, that is outwardly like disciplined. But it's all coming from the idea that I'm detaching away from who I am. Like, I don't want to deal with the me that's anxious and afraid. All I want to do is run away from him. So I'm creating this shield, this armor that like wraps around it. And this is the Alex, the persona of Alex that is like confident and shredded and happy and speaks to women. And I think I make excuses around what me needs to do. I'm making excuses around this to like suppress him and not have to deal with his insecurities. Like, I put off a date in life because I've got this idea in my head, or these excuses that come up saying I need to go out and achieve 10 grand a month and I shouldn't have a date in life if I'm not financially free. But I think all of these ideas are kind of excuses to avoid my actual fear of going out there and like socializing and speaking to women and being like loved. And I think it comes from like just an upbringing where my parents were amazing. They were absolutely beautiful people. They did the best job they could have done. But for some reason, my brain interpreted it as I didn't get like the love and affection I needed when I was younger. I don't know why. Whether this is just through the friendship group I had, the experiences I had in school, the way my undeveloped brain perceived my upbringing, I'm not sure. I intellectually know that my parents did an amazing job and I had an amazing upbringing, but it's like my brain doesn't see it that way. It sees it as like I'm unlovable. I've got these like beliefs and frameworks that I can't be loved. And it like seeps into my personality, and like, I get anxiety when I speak to women because of that reason, because I don't feel like I'm loved. And I don't never feel like I fit in, even when I'm with like people I'm close with. I'm always looking at people thinking they're better than me. And I know this is all just dodgy ways of thinking. I know so much about the mechanics of the mind that I know this is all just, it's all just faulty perceptions, but it seems to be like the harder I try to get away from it, the worse it gets. And like the more I disconnect between this like insecure Alex and just build this persona on top of him, like the more I'm not dealing with the situations. But then it's like a paradox in itself, because I am actually more confident than I've ever been. I am actually like dealing with scenarios better, and I'm doing things I want to do. But I do realize that it is based in the fear of who I actually am, and not based on the motivation of wanting to improve myself. As I'm talking now, I'm getting this realization in my head that I need to go down and actually really deal with my insecurities and my anxieties, and not in a way that's pretending them, not in a way that's like kind of wrapping around them and making me feel productive on a surface level, but actually go into what I know is there that is scaring me and is causing me anxiety. And it's this fact that I'm not lovable. I don't think I'm lovable. I don't think I'm good enough. And I need to go out there and speak to people and experience like a relationship and experience love to understand that this is a faulty perception. Or maybe I need to just love myself. Maybe I need to accept who I am. But how do I do this? I know that I should do this, but there's a difference between knowing and feeling and perceiving. And we are just all frameworks of thinking and believing. That's all our minds are. So I know on an intellectual level, again, that all I need to do is change my perceptions, change the way I think and feel. But it kind of feels like it kind of feels like I'm just like putting like paper over the cracks. I'm not actually dealing with the cracks. I'm not fixing it from the inside out. I don't know, it's really tough. This video isn't meant to be a productive one. It's not meant to be something that's helping you for once. This is just me being real about the person I am. And I hope people can relate to this. And like your anxiety and your neurosis can come out in several ways. And it all, for me, stems from this feeling of not being loved, not feeling like I'm enough. There's like a younger me inside of me. There's like this person that doesn't feel like he fits in anywhere. That I always feel less. I always feel like people are watching me. They're always second guessing what I'm doing. People are going to figure me out. They know I'm anxious. They know I'm afraid. And like I look at people like they are gods, like they are like all set up and perfect. But I know, again, intellectually, that I can't see that in person's interior state of mind. I just see their outward perception as they see mine, and they probably look at me and think I'm really confident. I get comments all the time saying, "You're so confident." And that's it's such a disconnect between how I feel and what people are seeing that it confuses me, because I don't feel like that. But that's how I see other people. I look at other people and they're like outwardly confident, but I know in their state of mind, they're feeling similar things to what I'm feeling. Not everyone feels like this, but a lot of people struggle with insecurities and mental health problems, and they're not going to show that on that outward perception. You only see the best bits of people because you're always going to try and show your best to people, because you want to be a good impact on the world and you want to impress people. That's just a part of human nature. But when you look at people, that's all you see is their best bits. It's like social media. You see their highlights. You don't see the interior state of mind. You don't see the times they miss their alarm. They miss waking up through their alarm because they're depressed and they're anxious, and then they eat junk food and like they cry in bed or whatever they do, like when they're an insecure mess. You don't see that part, and people don't talk about it, but that is part of being a human. And I get stuck between being this like conqueror, this state of mind where you're a warrior and nothing affects you, and these are just emotions and feelings, but are you just creating a persona there? Are you just trying to constantly, when I'm doing that, when I'm like, I just need to push through, I just need to meditate, I just need to run, I just need to work out, am I just running away from who I am every time, and I'm just building up this bigger and bigger disconnect between who I am and who I'm trying to be, or who I'm outwardly perceiving me to be? I don't know. I don't know if there's like an insecure younger version of me that's in my brain that I need to like talk to and rationalize with and listen to. I don't know if it's just faulty frameworks and perceptions. I don't know if it's like PTSD or trauma. I don't know what it is. I had no clue. But I know what I'm doing right now is definitely helping, but it's very slow. And I realize that it's motivated in the fear of who I am. But maybe to get to the point where you're happy with who you are, you need to outwardly realize that nothing external is going to help you, and maybe you need to achieve that external to then like flip it internally. Maybe not. Maybe that's just my ego rationalizing what I'm doing right now to continue me on this path that I feel like semi-comfortable with. I don't know. It's difficult. It's it's hard being a human, man. Like, you should always want to improve yourself, and you should always actively pursue learning about the body and the mind, because no time learning about them things is wasted, and you can rather spend your life not learning about these things and not even thinking about them and just living a life of perpetual insecurity and anxiety, or you can like continue to take the elixir that is going to help eventually alleviate your symptoms. But this elixir makes you aware of your problems and your anxieties. And the only way to get through it is to drink more of the poison. You need to keep going and keep building the awareness. Because eventually, as you're building that awareness, you come to a point where you realize who you are and what you are, and you accept that, and then you start improving, and then you start working on yourself. But you need to go through the stage of insecurity and anxiety to like dig through the trenches and get down to who you actually are. The awareness that I've built about like who I want to be, who I am right now, the disconnect, how my mind works, all of this awareness causes suffering, because I realize how negative it all is and how much like suffering it causes me. But without this awareness, I would be feeling like this anyway, without the knowledge of feeling like this, which some could say ignorance is bliss, but I would rather know so I can work on something than not know at all, because awareness is key. Awareness is a solution to any problem. Without awareness, you don't even know there's a problem. So I'd rather be aware and suffer through the awareness and dealing with the problems than just dealing with the problems but not be aware. Because at least now there's a way out of it. At least now there is a way where I can learn to strip back all my insecurities and my anxieties and strip back all these faulty perceptions I have about myself and really work to the core of who I am and have self-acceptance, and then do it in a holistic manner where I can actually go out and be the person I want to be, or be me. I hope that made sense, people. That was a very like vulnerable episode, as they always are. I love just coming on here and just share my insecurities and my anxieties. I feel like not enough people do it. We all try to pretend to be this person, which I do sometimes on social media. I post pictures of me with my shirt off, working out all the time, and that is stuff I actually do. Like, I actually go out and work out quite often. I'm pretty disciplined with my meditation, my reading. I actually do these things, and whilst they are better in my life and I love doing them, there is a lot more I need to deal with, and maybe productivity sometimes is dealing with your insecurities and not doing the things that the hustle culture deems productive. So maybe actually your productivity task list is unproductive to your state of mind, because you're just running away from what you actually have to do, which is the self inner work, and you're trying to rationalize this by meditating or reading or working on your business. So yeah, like the productivity like information now can maybe trick you into falsely thinking you're making progress when you're actually not. But that's my episode anyway, people. Hope you found that like relatable. I'm not sure if you'll find value in that because my mind's a bit like just all over the place. Thoughts coming here, thoughts coming there. But I think it's helpful because there is certainly ways out of this, and I know there is ways out of this, and I know I'm not going to suffer like this forever. Through age and through getting older and like accumulating more knowledge, having more life experience, you will slowly start figuring these things out. And I have no doubt that I will get to a point in a stage of my life where I'm there with who I am and I'm happy, and I can have a productive relationship and have a productive business where it's not based in the fear of who I am, and it's more based in wanting to like maximize my potential. But I think maybe I'm in my 20s, like I'm really young. Maybe I've just got to work through these issues and suffer a little bit. Or maybe not. Maybe that's a choice. Who knows? But thank you very much for listening, people, and I'll see you all in the next episode.